You're listening to E-Commerce Fastlane, episode 58.
Welcome to E-Commerce Fastlane, the podcast show to help you build, launch, grow, and scale a wildly successful e-commerce company. Listen to real conversations with proven practical strategies and success stories. Learn how to generate more traffic, more sales, more profit, and customer lifetime value for your Shopify store. And now, your host and e-commerce entrepreneur, Steve Hutt.
This episode is brought to you by ShopMessage.me, an incredibly powerful Shopify app. Do you want to know the secret marketing channel that Fashion Nova, Pura Vida bracelets, and Movement watches use to drive millions in revenue? The answer is Facebook Messenger, and it's powered by ShopMessage, the leading conversational marketing platform. When I saw how much revenue Shopify brands were making on Messenger, I was blown away. So I had to meet ShopMessage's co-founder and CEO, Arjun. I even recorded a podcast, episode 20, Learn Why Facebook Messenger is the e-commerce channel for the next decade and how you can capitalize. I just love the value that his company brings to brands. You will acquire more customers. You'll create more delightful interactive conversations. And most importantly, you're going to build brand loyalty. Now, for listeners of E-Commerce Fastlane, ShopMessage is now offering a 30-day free trial and guarantees you'll see at least a 4x ROI on your first paid month, or they'll refund the difference. So go to shopmessage.me/fastlane. That's shopmessage.me/fastlane and start your 30-day free trial today. Well, hey there, it's Steve, and welcome back to the E-Commerce Fastlane podcast. Now, if this is your first time listening, this is an e-commerce show where we have honest and transparent conversations about building and thriving online with your store powered by Shopify or Shopify Plus. Now, new episodes are available each week with your favorite podcast player through iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and now Spotify. Or you can also sign up online at ecommercefastlane.com and be notified when new shows are being released. Now, today I'm chatting with Cooper Harris, the founder and CEO of a platform and a brand called Clickly. You may not have heard of them, but I tell you, it's very, very interesting what they're up to. That's why I wanted to get them on this show, because I feel a lot of people are maybe challenged a bit about top of funnel awareness and consideration phase of a funnel, of a sales funnel, which eventually would bring into conversions and then retention. And so they have a very unique platform that I want to talk about. In her words, in front of what I read in the website, they talk about supercharging your customer acquisition strategy. And I guess I could go on in this intro, but I think it's best to hear it from Cooper directly herself. So let's jump into the show and learn more. So hi, Cooper. Welcome to E-Commerce Fastlane.
Thank you, Steve. I'm really excited to be here.
Awesome. So let's talk on a high level first about what does Clickly do and what problem does it solve for Shopify store owners?
Yeah, definitely. So oftentimes Shopify store owners are really good at creating their brand. They're really good at picking perhaps products that fit their very niche audience or a wide audience. And they're really good at building their company. And not all of them, though some, not all of them are experts at like growth hacking and customer acquisition and, all those other sides of the coin, right? That have to do with marketing the company. And so Clickly really comes in there. We started the business when I myself, we're here in Los Angeles, and we had a lot of friends. I and my founding team had friends who were building these incredible companies, many of whom you've heard of, probably very large, what are now large companies. But in the beginning, they struggled like everyone else with finding exactly what was that CPA, that customer acquisition cost. What was that kind of formula, if you will, for really driving smart, intelligent sales and customer acquisition. And I just watched them just pour money onto various platforms trying to figure it out. And we had the idea, could create a platform that really kind of solved this problem, that was more aligned with the brands, such that the goal is we have access to a lot of tech. We're a very technical company. We have access to a lot of data, and we are able to start predicting what people want to buy and just do a really good job for helping find the right customer at the right time for the brand. So our whole goal was, and what we've tried to do with Clickly, is create what we call a commerce engine So this is the idea that it's a platform, it's self-serve. You come to Clickly, you load up the products you want us to promote, and then like a commerce engine, we go across the entire web through many different advertising channels, and we kind of sell your products almost on a commission basis. So that's the idea. And obviously that opens so many doors and questions, I'm sure, but that high level is the idea.
Yeah, so we're definitely going to dig into it because I know of and I have a few brands. That's how I've able to get you on the show today, is because I have some brands that are using your platform and are very, very happy and is successfully executing on it. So that's one of the reasons why I have you here. So I do have a couple of questions I'm going to dig into more specific on the data and the machine learning part of it in a minute. But before we get rocking on that, let's talk about recent past. But you were an actress for quite a while in LA, New York. And can you kind of tell me a little bit about that whole journey, that entrepreneurial journey now, and then now being involved in a tech company and being a founder? So interesting.
Yeah. Well, so the interesting part is there's two key overlaps in what seems to be an otherwise completely random pivot in careers.
I was going to say,
from the ripe old age of 12, I decided to be an actor. I took myself to boarding school when I was 13 to learn the craft. And I was very intent on the craft, right? This was a very serious endeavor. I then studied in college and got a major in it, and then was on a TV show the day I graduated with a very good agent in New York. And it was kind of the dream, right? And I did that for solidly 4 years, loved it until I didn't. And I got honestly just a little bored and not burned out so much because I was one of the lucky few to actually make a living on it consistently, solidly, like I didn't ever do anything else. But here's the two overlaps. Number one, when you are your own instrument, so to speak, and you're an actor and you really have studied it like a business, like a craft, and taken yourself that far in such a disciplined way, you are an entrepreneur. You just don't realize it.
Right.
And by the way, you do still have a lot to learn. But you're entrepreneurial and you have to be. The second piece is that what attracted me so much to that career and why I did love it was because I was storytelling. Well, come to find out, those are two big key pieces for then becoming an entrepreneur and building your own business, whether it's a brand like most of your listeners, or whether you're an entrepreneur building a tech platform like I am now. You are still telling a story, and it better be a compelling one.
Yeah.
And you are entrepreneurial and have to run your own either brand or your own company. So both actually carry over quite well.
And then, so how did you get involved in the tech part of it? So I can appreciate the whole entrepreneurial side and the personal brand building and storytelling on that. I mean, those are great topics, but then why tech?
So, well, it's funny. My brother has actually been coding since he was 12. So I really looked up to him for that. And I thought it was fantastic and very cool. When we were little, he would be building these websites, right? And it was just fascinating. Early on, we were in middle elementary school. So I grew up with it. My dad's also a serial entrepreneur. And so when I got bored on the TV shows, I, in my spare time, would actually go to hackathons. And I would hang out with engineers, and I would actually participate. So I am a very bad coder. Just caveat here and disclaimer: I do not code on my own projects. Nowhere in Clickly is there Cooper code, nor should there be. But definitely not. But at the same time, I was really into it. I just found it really compelling, very exciting, and we're at a time where never before has there been the opportunity in the tech space that there is now. So all that to say, sneaking off to hackathons, participating in huge numbers of them, actually winning a bunch of them now, and winning money from some of them. Yep.
Nice.
That really got me thinking just more technically. I then started my first company, which I exited quite nicely and quite quickly in about 13 months, and then started Clickly shortly thereafter.
Beautiful. And that obviously you built quite, I almost say a Rolodex of people along that journey of being at hackathons and other entrepreneurs in the entrepreneur ecosystem. So it certainly helps maybe funding wise or just, warm intros to other people to kind of help you along.
Oh, so much so. Yeah.
Beautiful. So let's talk a little bit about the product now. You mentioned a little bit at the top about the fact that your platform basically understands when someone may be ready to make a purchase. Are these inside emails or are they ads? Just explain a little bit to the listeners today what exactly your platform does, more specifically.
Yeah, definitely. So I kind of covered this idea of being commission-based, right? That brands pay on the value that's delivered back to them. We hope, again, that there's better alignment of value from that advertising cost, right? Because basically we don't make money unless they do. But there is an added benefit, which we haven't gotten into yet, which I think you're kind of hinting at.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the other side. So we talked a lot about the brand side of the Clickly platform. What happens when they sign up? They load up their products, they push them out there, and they pay on a commission.
Right.
So on that other side of Clickly, what's happening there is we're actually taking those products from the brands and we're pushing them out across, through 4 different channels across millions of online popular destinations. So we are hitting huge swaths of people who we believe are statistically more likely to want your products. And we better be right, or else we're going to lose a lot of money.
Right. Yeah.
So what we do when we hit those, we'll call them the consumer. When we hit the consumer with the brand's ads, what ends up happening is something a little bit different. They can either do the normal thing, which is to click on the ad, go back to the brand site, and hopefully purchase.
Right.
Or they can just look at the ad and remember the brand and be glad they remember the brand and hopefully go back later and purchase. Or they can do something, number 3, totally new. This third thing that they may do is completely new. We've kind of invented this and we have patents on it, which is the idea that we allow that consumer to purchase directly in the ad. So again, the whole point is just to get brands more sales. We actually don't care where the purchase happens, but there is a huge segment of the population, growing Gen Z and millennials, where, and I fall into that category, so I'm only kind of dissing myself, but we're a very, I won't say ADD, but we're a very, let's say fast paced, fast moving. I even talk quickly, but we're a busy bunch. And I think we have a very high, and really, honestly, Steve, you do too. But like everyone who's digitally savvy has a higher and higher, let's say, bar for what we expect from an online experience. We are no longer willing to like wade around in a problematic mobile interface, meaning, the visual that you as a consumer see when you're trying to purchase. We're not cool to do that if it's going to take like 8 to 12 steps in like 5 minutes. No one has time. So what's different about Clickly is we actually allow the consumer to buy directly within, let's say, the ad, if it is an ad they're seeing. So the consumer can actually, we will populate a normal little carousel with the product photos, the pictures. We will populate that description that you've already written on your site. We just pull it in real time and we'll show it to that consumer. And it's all in the ad. We will show them all that information. If there are variants or what we call variables, color, photo, whatever, they just click them with their thumb. Super easy little button. And then they say they're interested. That little space flips over and they can either confirm their info if we already have it, or if not, they can enter a very few form fields, about 3. We only need a very few for that purchase to actually take place. So it takes longer for me to describe it than it does for a person to do. But the end idea here is we're just getting those extra people who aren't going to take that journey back to the site.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see like the affiliate side of the business where, there's banner ads and text links and things like that. And then, you click through and off it goes back to the original website, or you hear words like view through ads where you're under the assumption that you may have seen the ad, and then over time you're more apt to go directly there. And that's an interesting opportunity for, this, I guess that I don't want to say like a CPM model, but that's kind of one way of doing it. And now you're suggesting now is with Clickly ads, now you're able to actually make purchases from within the ads itself physically and check out. Very cool.
Yes, exactly right. And that just goes into your store, goes into Shopify. We're definitely not trying to replace Shopify, right? We're trying to amplify and bolster the reach of merchants who perhaps want a more risk-free scenario or just want to try a new channel.
So you did mention a little bit about this commerce engine, I guess is kind of language. Can you maybe talk about maybe some of the unique features about Clickly that I guess that differentiates, your solution versus other kind of acquisition or conversion solutions? Because it's not necessarily a new top of funnel solution to find awareness and consideration for a brand. There's lots of people trying to get net new visitors to their website and convert more. What's unique specifically about your commerce engine and Clickly then?
Mm-hmm. So I think, certainly part of it's probably threefold, but certainly first and foremost, I think it's for a lot of brands, it's very incentivizing and very enticing to have this idea that they can come to Clickly, they can load their products up, the products they choose, and then they can kind of tell Clickly to, hey, go sell these across the internet through your 4 channels, go promote them and get us sales, right? Mm-hmm. And then the idea that is on a on a commission basis, that's where we get the idea of the commerce engine. Because we don't want to just be advertising.
Right.
We really want to be converting for our brands. That's the whole point of what we're doing. So that's kind of that commission-based piece. And we do feel like while there certainly are great agencies out there who, if you're a really sexy product and you're killing it, like they'll take you on a CPA basis, meaning they will take you on as a client and they will do it on a commission. But it's very hard if you aren't one of those very few brands for everyone else to get that same treatment from agencies. And it's hard for agencies to provide it because it takes a lot of, if you're doing it manually, it's a lot of hard work and they absolutely deserve all the commission they get, right? When you're doing it with a data-driven platform, though, that's highly automated and highly scalable, as the Clickly platform, we can just work with a lot more brands. I should at this point disclose, like, we are invite only just because it is such a, enticing model. So we do have to vet the brands who come through. We can't work with adult themed brands who are selling adult products or guns or drugs. But for any brand who's reached that level where they do want to do, they want to move beyond Facebook. They want to explore new channels. They have a good base of fanatical fans, ideally. Once you're to that point as a brand, let's say you're doing at least 25K a month or something, that's where you really, really need new channels. And that's a really good place for Quickly to come in. And that commission-based piece, that's the first differentiator. The second is obviously what we already talked about, enabling purchases directly within the ad, or, we push out through online games, popular apps, and content online. So millions of destinations. And even some of them are very traditional. Vogue.com, Cosmo, ESPN, those are all sites that we have relationships with and can get you on. So I think that being able to buy directly in the ad and still have it go into your Shopify, that's probably the second big differentiator.
Thank you for sharing that, because I think it's interesting, and I can appreciate the people listening today. I mean, not everyone listening today is going to be more than 25K a month, and I know it's invite only, and I think that's all part of the fact that this is newish to the market, and you're learning how to apply your resources internally, even though it's a SaaS solution. There's still some onboarding, customer success type people available from within your organization. It almost seemed like if you're at a certain level, like you said, you have raving fans, you have proof of concept, you understand what your cost per acquisition is, and you're going down this, you're a little bit more mature than just a startup. Let's say you have product market fit. Okay, great. So you're that person listening today. It almost seems, if you get approved, it's almost like a risk-free decision, I would think, for Shopify brands.
Yes. Well, that is 100% the idea. That is what we have tried to do, is make it kind of a no-brainer. That's the goal. And we have found that we've been able to remove most of the friction. You can sign up, of course, with a quick click. And part of that is actually kudos to Shopify for making their ecosystem and their apps such an easy plug and play. So that's fantastic. But yeah, there's no upfront spin or contracts or anything like that. It really is, you set the set of products you want us to promote. And it could be anything from your swimsuit line to 3 products to your entire catalog. About 80% of our brands will choose their entire catalog, which is great because it gives us a greater variety from which to sell and promote. So that's better. And then, the idea is that we offer seamless integration. It takes about 15 minutes with no coding at all.
I'm not asking for the secret sauce, but the question about but I kind of am.
Yeah.
The commission part,
Yes.
the commission part, different types of products have different levels of gross margin built into them. It's just part of the vertical that they're involved in. Fashion being higher, consumer electronics being lower. So how do you negotiate or discuss where certain verticals fit commission-wise?
Yes. So we've created something I think is completely unique. We actually patented it too. We have a commission lever, and it means that you can log in to the platform, and visually you will see a lever in the third step where you set your commission, where the brand actually gets to choose it for themselves. So they can actually choose anything from 1 to 100% of the sales that we drive for them. So that's why we can work with any brand, no matter what their, let's say, margin is. We have coffee companies who have notoriously tiny margins. And then we have some sunglasses companies who, let's be real, they have huge margins, and maybe they're making them in China and they have a great brand here. So that difference is like $150. So, and so they can afford to do 75%. And the key is we prioritize the companies according to where they rank compared to the other companies in our platform.
I see. Okay, well that solves that. That's good. So it sounds like you really have a lot of power as a brand owner to make decisions. If you get approved, you get to have this little lever, this commission lever, and choose how much you're willing to, I guess, share with the Clickly platform based on acquisition. Let's talk about the machine learning part. I read a little bit about it, and some of the topics come up are like offsite sales and stuff. Can you kind of share with listeners specifically, what is your solution doing in the background to
Yeah.
really help Shopify brands?
Yeah. So this, I mean, this really is more even the secret sauce, so to speak, than the commission is. But it's also, it's machine learning. So it is what it is. So we have a lot of data and a lot of logic that we use to try to make educated guesses around who actually wants to buy things. Now, once we are 100% great at this and we could do it every time, all the time, like we will be the most powerful company in the world. Like Amazon's still trying to crack this, right? But the idea simply is that we do have indicators that are unique beyond what Facebook and Google have. Because of course we're seeing what people are buying, so we're better able to predict from their purchase history what they want to buy in the future, and it's kind of similar again to like what you start to see. If anyone out there is using Facebook, they're already kind of using this data anyway. It's just that there may be other things they're using it for too. But in any case, what we're really trying to do is use all the insights just to build a better engine to get more sales. Again, we only make money when we drive sales, and so that is our key sole reason for being. So here's an example. Let's say we see a giant swath of people out there who are, let's say they like product X. So I have brand Y on my platform, and brand Y sells a lot of product X. So I'm looking at those folks out there who like products X and they've tried to buy things like it before. I'm like, all right, let's promote it. But then let's say all of them, except 2, also buy product A. Then for the rest of them, I can have great surety that people who like product X are actually going to also like product A, and I will try to sell them product A too. It's just that kind of recommendation engine idea at the very basic level of, if folks buy this, then they're most likely to buy this as well.
Very cool. Oh, this is exciting stuff. You're living it every day, but it's like really awesome.
Yeah.
So this show, as I'm sure you can appreciate, really does have a diverse range of listeners. I'm part of the merchant success team on Shopify Plus, along with this show,
Yes.
but I also have a significant listenership on Shopify Core, which is, the early stage startup type people. And, they still got 9 to 5 and they're still doing their thing and they got the side hustle going. And so if you're to, you have access to a lot of merchants, even though I know you're dealing more people that have, as you said, product market fit and a certain amount of revenue and CPA behind them, but, entrepreneurship is not new to you. So can you give some advice, maybe the early stage e-commerce entrepreneurs, what sort of things would that be?
Yeah, I think, look, all the Shopify Plus guys, for the most part, started out as entrepreneurs just building their own brand by themselves or with 1 or 2 other people. So all of them were in those shoes at some point, right? So I think, maybe things I have seen from my friends who have started and grown these huge brands now that maybe exited for $1 billion plus, what I've seen as commonalities is just this grit and perseverance, and not chip on the shoulder, but just like gonna do what it takes to get it done. Right. So every day they're hustling, not to quote the song, but they are. And, and they are really digging in, and they are persevering in the face of adversity, no matter what. And it's about consistency, right? It's about, same like working out or any other habit. If you want to become good at something, you have to put in those 10,000 hours and you have to do it consistently. So that's the first thing. The other thing I would really, really kind of challenge or hopefully suggest to those folks who are listening, who are starting to build a brand, is like, if you have figured out something that's working, don't jump on the next shiny object. Really hone in on what's working. Pick a very specific niche or a very specific streamlined idea. And perhaps, don't do the all things to all people giant dropship store, right? Maybe think about, if that's working for you, do it. But maybe think about, maybe a specific niche or sector that you know really well and that you can really go whole hog on and get really intense about. You can't boil the ocean and you'll die trying. It's why startups fail.
Yeah, and I agree with that. That shiny object syndrome, like 100%. I mean, and I'm unfortunately guilty of that too, to a certain degree, where I'm always thinking about, well, what's the best way to promote the podcast show? And there's always some new evergreen rescheduling, reposting, some kind of pop up exit intenti. There's always something going on to try to build and grow your brand. And at some point, you have to, really double down and focus on, the core few principles that, and then just consistency over time, just being patient but consistent and thinking for the long term is kind of like some of the things that I think about a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else?
Yeah, but I would say, Steve, you're probably a little humble there because you've dialed in on an amazing niche, which is the Shopify, ecosystem. And you're very clear that it's a podcast. You're not suddenly trying to do a TV show over here, you know? So, yeah. But that A/B testing is so key. I think folks would be well served to take a cue from that idea of like use tools to hone in on your niche all the time, right?
So that's the startup-y people. Now, what about those listening today that are more mid-market, small team? They're kind of eager to grow and scale. Like, what do you think the executive team is listening today, or the marketers on a brand? What should they be working on?
I mean, I hope they get on quickly. But that's
sure.
It's a shameless plug.
Fair enough.
No. I mean,
yeah.
Look, like we created the platform for that type of profile of brand. But
right.
But I genuinely think that a key part of what helps scale up a small team or a fast growing team is automation. I'm so bullish on that. And if you can find something that is very purely automated and also is success based in that marketing and advertising growth space, I think go whole hog on it. So I would say two things. Think about how can you scale your marketing and advertising efforts without investing a ton of effort, right? You don't want to be hiring lots of people. You don't want to invest in a high burn rate, really, if you haven't yet found those automated ways that you can scale your brand. And then, so find those solutions and platforms that have the ability to automate them, and then just like set them. And then the second piece would be try to invest in finding a platform that will only charge you on success. So whether that's a Clickly or it's an agency, I just heard about this fantastic agency in New York called Metric Digital, and they work with a bunch of awesome big Shopify Plus brands and others. And they very much have our ethos of performance-based success. So I would say go hard on that.
Very cool. Very cool. I know Shopify Plus, for example, that's one of their mantras. We talk about the app called Flow, and Flow is Shopify's take on automation, because there's so many tasks that, really you should,
so many.
Focus on things that, high value things that a human can do, instead of working in spreadsheets and trying to do a lot of these manual processes where Flow, a trigger and an action, and you're suggesting with your solution, once you know your CPA, you've got a product fit, and you're looking to kind of scale that out and let some automation with a reasonable budget to acquire new customers. And then, and I guess the next part of that, if you had a merchant success manager or you're on the self-drive program on Shopify Plus, you learn that, okay, great, I have this first sale. It's like, and that's kind of semi-easy-ish. And then what are we doing to get, and this is kind of for the people, I guess it's for all people in any category, but it's just, what's the next thing you need to do to that drip sequence, the re-engagement, that there's lots of things to do outside of that first sale. I mean, obviously post-purchase follow-up, delivery, fast delivery, notifications. And then from there, it's such a life of learning.
Yes. Yeah, I think you're so right. I think brands often focus so hard on customer acquisition, first time customer acquisition. And it's key. It's absolutely key, especially as a new brand. But then you really have to, those become so expensive if you don't have good retention and follow up, because the earnout's going to be, it does often take a little while. And if you are trying to recapture that entire value of what you spent to acquire the customer on the first purchase, it's nearly impossible, and you'll just be churning.
Right.
Yeah.
So Cooper, we are nearing the end of the show, but do you have any closing comments or any takeaways that you would like to leave with our listeners today?
I think really our vision at Clickly is all about empowering brands that are on Shopify, frankly. You have the exact caliber of entrepreneur and now the exact caliber brand that we want to work with. And we think that every exciting digitally native brand should have access to the same tech that's used by Fortune 500s, right? We built our platform actually first and worked with very, very large brands that would fall into the Fortune 500 category. We just really believe that this kind of tech should be democratized. Everyone should have access to, data and logic-driven, performance-driven sales. So yeah, I think that is really something we're passionate about. If it sounds interesting to you, definitely let us know. I think we're in a world where, here's the bottom line, where tech can start to empower brands like the ones probably listening today and that are on Shopify that should be popular based on the awesomeness of their product. And they should get known because of that. They shouldn't be squashed out of the market just because some other company with less brilliant products had more money to saturate the market. And that's what we see today. We see a lot of folks with a ton of money just saturating the market, and it's not a meritocracy. And those brands with really cool products don't get the chance to shine, and we want to change that.
Love it. So how can people learn more about Clickly?
So they can go to our site. It's www.clickly.com. Clickly, by the way, is spelled with a K. It's Klickly, like clicking quickly, shoved together, and then with a K. All right.
You got it.
And I think, Steve, you also pop up a link for folks to use sometimes as well.
I do, yeah. So typically at the end of most shows, there's usually some kind of a listener-only promotion. And so that's going to be ecommercefastlane.com/Clickly. That's going to be in the show notes, but that's going to redirect to a landing page. And Cooper, maybe you can share the details of the listener-only promo.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now, as Steve mentioned, and I did as well, our platform is invite only, which means currently there's a really long queue of folks who've applied. So what we're going to do is we're going to get you ahead of that queue. You're going to be first in line if you sign up through Steve's link that he shows you. We're also going to give any brand who gets approved, we're going to give them a free ad boost worth $50. That just basically boosts you higher in our algorithm. It's like an optional feature, but you could do that. We're going to give that to you for free. And then we're also going to get you in a what we call higher tier of service on Clickly. So you will automatically have access to, without paying the higher fee, to what we call growth specialists. So that's somebody who can give you support, can show you how to strategize on Clickly and set up your best campaigns.
It's like an onboarding kind of a customer success manager.
Exactly right.
Beautiful. Well, Cooper, thank you so much. Very, very, very educational. I'm glad I was able to finally have you on the show. And it's nice to summarize because it's really difficult maybe just to read things in press and PR things because it is invite only. It's secretive and it's successful for lots of people. But now with the show, it's no longer quote unquote a secret anymore because there's going to be thousands of people listening to this episode when it launches the first week. So thank you very, very much for number one, having the trust in me to be able to share what it is that you're doing. Thank you for this offer. I think the listeners are going to absolutely love it. Best of luck and success in the future.
Thank you so much, Steve, and kudos, and so glad that you're doing what you're doing. It's a fantastic ecosystem. We love Shopify, and keep up the awesome work.
All right, beautiful. Thanks so much for coming on.
Take care.
This episode is brought to you by Shop Message, the marketing channel trusted by top Shopify brands like Fashion Nova, Pura Vida bracelets, Movement watches, and many more. Now, don't forget, take advantage of their generous 30-day free trial by visiting shopmessage.me/fastlane. That's shopmessage.me/fastlane. You'll get priority onboarding and a 4x ROI guaranteed just for Fastlane listeners. So go check them out. Well, that's it for today's episode. I'd like to thank you, a loyal listener of E-commerce Fastlane. It's my hope that this podcast is offering you a ton of value through growth strategies, tactics, and exclusive insider tips on the best Shopify apps and marketing platforms, all with my personal goal to help you build, launch, grow, and scale with Shopify. Thanks for investing some time today and listening to the show. I'm so proud and excited that you have a growth mindset and are a constant learner. I truly appreciate you and your entrepreneurial journey. Enjoy the rest of the week and keep thriving with Shopify.